Hi, everybody. This is Joy Lingerie. You're tuned in to Matured Musicians, and we have a guest today, Jack Dolan, who's a local area bassist who gets around. And before we start that, I do want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Luscious Moss. Owned and operated by Chad Christ in Edgewood, Washington. He has a very creative, collaborative environment. He started out with drummers and guitarists, but now he's moved on to, well, not moved on, but he's added producing singles and albums for his people that come to him, which I am one of. So if you have any needs, just go to Facebook, look up Chad Christ or Luscious Moss Studio, and he'll be happy to help you out. So with that, we're going to start this interview with Jack, and you have an interesting background. So we're going to start out a little bit with your background as far as how you got into music, and then as it progressed to what you're doing now.
Okay.
We're on, Jack.
Well, I started off in 6th grade on trumpet. I wanted to play drums, but my dad wouldn't let me do that. But in 7th grade,
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. So then I switched to drums in 7th grade, played all through junior high. And my sophomore and junior in high school, I played drums, marched in the Daffodil Parade,
Yes.
in the high school. But I started playing guitar in high school also. And I liked that a lot better. And a friend needed a bass player in his band. So I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And then, the first time I played the bass, I hit that low E string. I went, oh, I love the sound of this thing. I think I'll do this. And I was in a band for about 3 or 4 months. The band split up, and I thought I was going to go back to guitar. And then I got a call a week later from a guy who said, hey, I got your number. I heard your bass player. We need a bass player. We got a job coming up in 2 weeks. And I said, oh, yeah, I'm a bass player. So it kept going like that. I kept going, wanting to go back to guitar. And every time I was going to do that, somebody called me to play bass. So I kind of gave up the guitar idea.
No, it's amazing how life does that to you.
Yeah, you think you got a plan, but
Yeah.
that's not how it goes,
And then it always turns out to be something else. Oh, yeah, I get that. So
yeah, you got to be flexible because it's going to take you wherever it wants to go. You don't really have a lot of choice sometimes.
Exactly. So what was your first paying gig then? Approximately how old were you at that time?
Oh, I think I was 16. And boy, back in the day, there used to be junior high schools had dances with live bands.
Oh, yeah.
And CYO, Catholic Youth Organizations, was my first paying gig. I think it was Sacred Heart? I can't remember any. It was on McKinley Avenue and 43rd. They have those parish halls alongside the church. And that was my first paying gig there. And played some junior highs. And there was some different Summit Youth Center out in Summit, Washington. They'd have bands every month or so. And we played there about every 2 or 3 months. And there were all these gigs to play everywhere back then. It was crazy. Wow. Not like now.
Yeah. Wow. How you lucked out.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and if you go out and play 3 hours and your cut was $30, well, minimum wage was $1.60, so
right, exactly.
When I worked at the Dairy Queen, I worked 6 hours and we made $10, by go play in the band and make $30 and have fun. So
my first job, I'm going to date myself here, but my first job, I made 59 cents an hour plus tips.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. I was working at a truck stop in the cafeteria, and I would wait on all the truckers and bring their food and so forth. But yeah,
you got tips though, at least, hopefully.
Yeah, not so much. I mean, back then it was like a quarter, 50 cents. I mean, if you got $1, you were on top of the world.
Yeah, you filled up your ast tank for the week for $1 back then.
Yeah, 25.9. I can't remember when it was 29. Actually, 19 cents a gallon. Way back then.
Yeah, I remember 24.9. That's got my Volkswagen. I put $2 worth of gas in, and it lasted me for 2 weeks. It was great.
Not like today.
No, not like today.
Moving right along as far as your career. So what was you did these gigs during your high school years, and then where did you go after you graduated?
Well, I got in a band with some couple guys a little older than me. It was a band called Scott Free, and they were fairly popular in the area. And we played a few gigs, but then they got offered to play. 2 of the guys got offered to play in a band called Shiloh, which is a pretty popular band in the area. Mm-hmm. One step up, and
right.
And they said, keep playing. I don't think this bass player we have is going to work out. So you keep practicing. And they gave me some tapes to work on. And sure enough, about a month later, they called me up and said, yeah, this bass player didn't work out. Come play for us. And that was back in the day. KTAC radio used to be a big rock station.
Is that here in this area in
It's
Washington?
in Tacoma, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's a rock station anymore, though. But it was they and the Musicians Union would do these Monday night concerts at Lincoln Bowl, the Lincoln High School football field.
Okay.
I remember I just joined the band, and we played Monday night at Lincoln Bowl, and boy, the place was packed. I was wow, I'm like 18 years old. Wow, this is amazing, And then the next day we got up really early, and we had a gig for a month in Stockton, California, 6 nights a week.
Whoa.
And we drove to Stockton, California the next day, and they said we were staying in condominiums. I didn't even know what a condominium was. I thought it was some kind of small thing, and it was apartments basically. But we checked in there, and there's a pool where we were staying, and I'm 18 years old, but I was very disappointed because it was California. I thought this is going to be crazy. It's going to be wild. And we went in the first play on Tuesday night, and like I think 25 people were there. So I was thinking, oh, this isn't as cool as I thought. But by the weekends were packed. It was fun. Yeah. You kind of get these images in your head. You see these movies, the rock movies, like, oh boy, California, it's going to be people off the wall. And so, but I still had a great time.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter, does it? If it's one, maybe 2 or 3 people or hundreds of people, it's still, the only thing that I found is smaller venues, you connect better.
Yeah. Get to visit with people a little more, and get to know them. And, being 18, being able to get up in the morning and have a bowl of cereal and walk out the door of the condo and jump right into a swimming pool, I mean,
oh, yeah.
that was pretty awesome. Every day I was in that pool.
Oh, cool. I never got out surfing.
Never did. It's one of those things on my bucket list. I want to go take surfing lessons one of these years, but I don't know if I'm going to make it. Who knows? All those Beach Boys songs, about surfers and surfer girls and all that, Yeah.
Well, from what I understand, the sharks have been moving in a little closer.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Not on the East Coast more, but I think it's probably still in California, though we don't hear about it as much because it's kind of common. But that I was out there, and I thought, no, I'd prefer the swimming pool at the place we were staying. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Some water and some sunshine, and you're good.
Yeah, I'm good. No bites. No jellyfish.
Yeah, no kidding.
So moving on from there, you're 18. Where did you go from there? How long were you with that band?
I was with that band for about 2.5, 3 years. We traveled quite a bit: California, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, parts of Canada and Alaska.
Yeah, you had that on there.
Yeah, had a pretty good time with all that. And the band, as the guys are getting older, I was one of the younger guys in the band. As the guys are getting older, thinking, well, I've got to figure out something to do with my life. I can't do this when I'm 55 years old. So they kind of split. Some of them split off of the band, and I joined a band out of Seattle called Rapid Transit.
Oh, cool.
And they were pretty well known too. We did some pretty good gigs and some traveling. And that band, I kind of came. Same thing hit me. I got to a certain age. I said, I can't do this forever. And,
there are some guys out there who have done it forever.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of back. I've been back doing it for a while. So I said, I'm going to learn something that I don't have to rely on this full time. Because, you're always, everything looks good. And then all of a sudden a club closes, now you're 2 weeks without work and you got bills to pay. And so I went into, I worked part-time in high school in the movie theater business. And I got hired to be an assistant manager of a movie theater, then promoted to a manager of a movie theater. And I did that for a couple of years. And music was calling me back, though. And a store in Tacoma needed a part-time employee. It was called Plaza Music in Villa Plaza at Lakewood. And I taught bass lessons one day a week and then joined my friend's band. We were playing 2 to 4 nights a week. So between all those things, I was actually making pretty good money.
Yeah.
And so I did that for a long time. And I started my own music store. The owner sold the store to a guy that I didn't like all that well. And I said, I've become the manager by then. And I said, I'm not going to get along with this guy. So I decided to open my own store. And then I did that, had it for 32 years.
Yeah. So this kind of store that you had, did you sell equipment or, what kind of, so you had everything?
Yeah, we sold guitars and amps, PA systems, drums, had a rehearsal studio in the back, did minor repairs. And I was still playing all this time with different bands and things, coming and going. And the store was, we have some fairly famous people come in there sometimes. Bruce Springsteen's drummer Max Weinberg came in when they were in Tacoma playing the Dome and hung out for a while and bought some drum heads. And there's some Robin Ford, great guitar players. He was playing jazz when he came over. A guy named Johnny A. The rehearsal studio got rented out by Marky Ramone, the drummer from the Ramones. He Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He rented the studio out in the back to rehearse for a week with his new band. They were doing the Northwest tour. And you'd see everyone saw somebody famous would come through there, and
oh, that's fun.
yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
fun.
A guy named Joe Bonamassa came by. I don't know if you know who he is. He's one of the blues greats nowadays, and super nice guy. Yeah, super nice guy.
See a lot on him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in person yet, but I've been kind of following on YouTube and Facebook. So
yeah, very, very humble. And he played a little guitar for us, picked up a slide and played some slide guitar. And I said, "You got to be Joe Bonamassa." He goes, "Yeah, I am." And he said his mom and dad, his mom and dad owned a store kind of like I had when he was growing up. And he was leaving passes for us for the show at Jazz Bones. He was just starting to break real big at the time. And I was gigging that night, and Jared that worked for me was gigging, but Ricky went to the show, got in free, and Joe saw him over and called him to the stage, and he gave him a DVD and a CD. He said, "Hey, here's, share with the other guys. Thank you for the hospitality today."
Oh, nice.
What a great guy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that was a very interesting name you had for that shop of yours, your guitar shop.
Oh, Sluggo? Yes.
Sluggo. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a joke and it stuck.
And tell me again how you got that name.
It was from Saturday Night Live. There's these claymation characters, Mr. Bill and Sluggo. And Sluggo was a big mean guy, and so we were joking, Sluggo music. Yeah, that's us, and
cool.
We couldn't think of a name. It was time to open. We couldn't think of a name, and we just stuck with that. And my partner, Cord Taylor, and I started the store, but it wasn't doing enough for two people, enough business. So we were going to have to cut to one person. We kind of did a coin flip, and I wound up buying him out. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that's kind of iffy, but no, I don't know. Do you think the guitars are made and drums and so forth are made as well? Or have things kind of gone downhill a little as far as the quality of the instrument?
I think they're, the right ones are made really well. They're very expensive. But the cheaper stuff has really come a long ways. I remember my first guitar was a Lyle for $129 from Ted Brown Music. It was just terrible. I didn't even play it for 2 years, because it was so bad. Then my neighbor got a nice guitar, and I said, "Oh, I can play this," and I went back to grab my guitar and went, "But I can't play this." But the cheaper stuff, a lot of it's coming out of China. It's all machine done, but a lot of it's actually a lot better quality than it used to be. I don't know if I say it's professional quality, but it's good to learn for beginners. Yeah.
I know what professional quality is.
Oh, you probably do. You probably have a nice guitar.
I have a lot of nice guitars.
Well, there you go. So that's professional
unfortunately. Quality. But the one I like, there's two of them that I like the best. And I like Fender too, but but I do have my Epiphones. I have an electric and an acoustic Epiphone. I absolutely love them.
Yeah.
I like the sound. I don't know why. I guess the sound is probably what draws people to their instrument.
The sound and playability. If it feels good in your hands, you feel comfortable playing it, that
stays tuned.
Yeah.
And the second brand that I just started with, I got a 12-string from Takamine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a beauty.
They've been around for a long time.
Yeah, and it stays tuned, and it's medium priced. I didn't have to pay over $1,000 where my budget wouldn't handle that. But, I love the way it plays. So, so now I'm into Takamines.
There's, I have a really nice $3,000 Warwick bass. It is just wonderful, made in Germany. It's just amazing. But most of it, I'm afraid to take it out because it's so expensive and I don't want to bang it up. So I take out my Fender Mexican jazz bass that I put DiMarzio pickups in. That thing sounds great. People come up and say, "What are you playing through there? Is that a Mexican bass?" I said, "Well, it plays great and these pickups are fantastic. So it does the job."
What kind of amp do you use?
Oh, usually I go with Ampeg. They've been around forever making bass amps. And I just picked up this Boss bass amp from Roland called the Quintana bass amp. And it's got more bells and whistles than I know what to do with, to be honest with you. But it sounds real good. And for my smaller gigs, it works great, and I don't have to lug my big cabinet, my big head around. I can put this thing in my trunk and get it there.
I see these guys doing that with their bass. Do you know Jamie Vandal at all? He's out of Snohomish.
Yeah, I think Jamie did. I've been playing some with a guy named James Howard.
Oh, yes.
And I think Jamie did some gigs with him too, actually.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know him personally, but I know the name. Yeah.
And he has a big thing, and I don't know how the heck he even carries it as that. It's like, holy cow. And, it's a strain.
Well, I have two cabinets that stack for my big gigs. They're both about, about 24 inches wide, about 22 inches tall. I can bring them out separately and then stack them on top of each other,
Yeah.
I couldn't carry that one big cabinet anymore. I gave up on that.
Yeah. I'm guessing that if music is still around and we still have a world,
yeah,
in about 5 years, 5 to 10 years, I'll bet with nanotechnology, we're going to have little tiny amps, and we're not going to have, it's going to be wireless, and we're not going to have all this stuff.
Yeah. The bass cabinets, I don't think they haven't been able to get them very small yet. They're smaller than they used to be and sound good, but some of the bass heads are like, I've got this one little 200-watt bass head that's like about 9 inches wide and about 6 inches deep and about 3 inches tall. It must weigh like 2.5 pounds, and for a lot of smaller gigs, I can just bring that along. It's just, and fits in my gig bag, it's like, it's crazy. You look at the old stuff that's huge, you're lugging it around and you're carrying this little tiny thing around and it works.
Yeah, I got a little Fender amp for my acoustic guitars, and it's not very big. I mean, it's the smallest one I've had. I've gone from large to medium to small now. Yeah, man, that thing puts out. I mean, it's amazing how much you get out of something that's small these days.
Well, the thing I'm fortunate with is that a lot of the gigs I do with the Janis Joplin tribute band I'm in, and also with James Howard, is we play these fairs and festivals and casinos, and they all have PAs already set up and everything. So we just, you don't have to bring a very big amp. They just run it through the PA and bring some back at the monitor at you, and you're covered, and it sounds huge when you play.
I watched the Hot Rodsters. I went to the first time, Angel of the Winds Casino, and he was playing, and oh my gosh, what a setup. They had this like movie in the background where you could see his Hot Rodster displays, things that he put out there to make it interesting. And the sound was unbelievable. And they had their own sound man, everything. So all you had to do is bring their amp and their drums.
Yeah, if you got a sound man that knows your material, and they're good, that really makes a difference. I mean, a bad sound man can ruin a good group.
That's right.
A good sound man can make a mediocre group sound good,
Absolutely.
So, they're an integral part of the whole thing. They really are.
So after you got to this point where you had you in CHOP, where'd you go from there? What happened?
Well, I was playing in a classic rock band called Yesterday and Today, not related to the band that had the albums out under the name, but we had some house gigs at a place called the Ram in Tacoma. We were playing 3 nights a week up there and did that for years.
Wow.
And that was, it's real nice. You have to move your gear, but you're in the same place all the time. After a while, it gets old.
Yeah.
And then that band split up and had a band called, let's see, after that, where did I go? I went to the Rockadiles was the name of the band. Yeah. And I did a little bit of time in a band called Rock and Roll Magic. They needed a bass player, and it was supposed to be for a year, and it wound up being about almost 3 years with them. Yeah. So every year they do a season at this club. They play 9 months. And they take the summers off, and I thought I was done. And he came up and he goes, "Count on you for next year." I said, "Yeah, okay." And then same thing. The next year, I thought I was done. Count on you for next year, yeah. But after the 3rd year, I said I'd had enough, and so I went to the band, the Rockadiles, and we were kind of under the radar a lot. People didn't really know much about us. We were playing a lot of private gigs, yacht clubs, and birthday parties.
That sounds fun.
Reunions. Yeah, it was, and they're pretty good paying too. But people say, "I never see you playing anywhere." I said, I'm playing all the time, but you just not places where the public can go.
Right. So moving along from there, so it sounds to me like pretty much you were doing classic rock or rock things, rock genres.
Yeah, for a lot of time I was. That's kind of what I liked. I did a little bit of jazz. I'm not really a jazz player, with a guy named Neil Anderson and Dudley Hill. And Dave Cross was in the band for a while, and it was called Quartet Deluxe for a while. but they changed to Pearl Django. The band became. And they have some CDs out, and they played up at Jazz Alley and things. And but I wasn't the right bass player for that band. I told them one day. They said, "Hey, would you consider an upright bass and doing that? Because we really need an upright." And I said, I was just going to tell you guys, I think you need to find a different bass player than me because, this is it. I mean, the music was wonderful and the guys were wonderful players, but it just wasn't really what felt like I should be doing. I just wasn't. Yeah. I'd have to spend a bunch of money on an upright bass and a nice system and really work on playing that. And I just thought, but the band was great. They had some CDs out, and they went to England, and they went all kinds of places, Right. And I've played a lot with Neil Anderson in some rock bands too. Neil had been in the Wailers and in the band called Adam Wynn. Great player and just a great human being, and just fun to play with that guy. Sometimes he'd play guitar solos, and they were so unique, and my ear would be drawn to them, and I'd almost forget to change on the bass where I was supposed to go. I was like, what's he doing over there? Wow, that is really, oops, I got to go over here,
Yeah, I get that. I've had that happen to me too.
Yeah, people just all of a sudden you're like, wow, what's that? Oh,
yeah.
Wow. And then you realize you got to do something too.
Yeah, right. So moving on from there, when did you get into country?
Well, I was playing in the Rockadiles, and I'd done that. I've been in that band for about 20 years, and it's just one of those days I woke up and went, I got to do something different. I just have to do something different. It's just time to change, And there was a band called $5 Fine was looking for a bass player, and they did mostly country, but they're playing the casinos, and things like that. And so it was pretty nice gigs. And so I went over and joined them, and I kind of edged them into doing some classic rock too. They were kind of, we all throw a little classic rock in here. And we were learning some classic rock, throwing it in, and we were playing the Redwood Casino. And we finished a gig down there, and Jeremy was the booker, and he came up to us at the end of the night and says, hey, I'm really glad you guys learned some classic rock because we're kind of acing out some of the country bands here. They're just strictly country. So you guys are a variety band. So I want to book you back now. So we got more gigs, because of it. And it went on. We lost our singer. We replaced the singer, and then we lost that singer and replaced another singer. And the band kind of went into a totally country direction again. And at that point I said, I don't want to go back to 100% country. So there was a lot of time, a month off. And I said, so you guys got plenty of time to find a bass player. And I said, I'd look around for some gigs. I played in a couple bands and things didn't work out. And then I joined, of all things, another country band, 8 Second Ride.
Yes. And
they do play some country and classic rock mix, though. Kimberly Kay in that band, Dave Dornick. Used Glenn McCartney on guitar a lot. The guitar slot kind of goes back and forth sometimes, different people,
Yeah.
Dave
Glenn Dornick played for me for a while. He's an ace.
Oh, yeah.
Then from him, I went to Chad Hazening. I don't know if you know Chad.
I don't think I do.
Yeah, he's strictly country.
Okay.
He did, although we were a variety band when he was with me. He was with me for quite some time. And he did rock too, because we did, some classic rock.
Yeah. We do some 60s, a little bit of 50s, I don't think we might be edging in the 70s in that band, but then the Janis Joplin tribute came along.
Yeah, and, then how, were you only playing for 8 Second Ride when Janis came along, or
yeah, it was only they were working a lot, before the COVID thing. They were working every weekend. Yeah,
8 Second Ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my friend told me about this Janis Joplin tribute thing, and I thought the way he explained to me, I thought it was a musical production. Like a stage play kind of thing.
It kind of is.
I hadn't done that since high school. I thought, well, that would be fun. I used to do some of those in high school, and then I went over and we played, and they liked me, and so we started rehearsing, and I started asking about the jobs, and she said, no, we're not doing a musical. This is a musical. This is a tribute band is what it is. I went, oh, okay. And I liked it. We've had some great gigs. I mean, they flew us down to the Caribbean to play down there, and we've been up in northern Vancouver, British Columbia, up to some of these little small towns like Nelson up there that are 120 years old. It's very historic towns, and playing theaters up there, and then Vancouver, and it's been down in Oregon, playing Eastern Washington, Western Washington, and the McMinimans down here in Tacoma, and Jazz Bones, and
there's one up in Bothell too.
Yeah, well, I'd like to get up to that one too. I think we just submitted some information for some other McMinimans.
It's a nice place, yeah.
Yeah, but that band, Sherry Johnson on vocals, and we've got Anthony Corso on guitar, and and Van Bergen on keyboards. And we're kind of looking at drummers right now because Malcolm, like I said, he's battling leukemia. So we've got to find somebody. We have New Year's Eve at Ocean Shores at the convention center, Ocean Shores, for New Year's Eve. So we have to have a drummer by then.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Now you said something about a Caribbean tour.
Yeah, there was a cruise out of the Caribbean we played a little over a year ago called the Flower Power Cruise. And they were looking for a Janis Joplin tribute. Now, a lot of the bands on there were actually 60s and early 70s bands that had original members still, some left. Like the Hollies were on that cruise, the Zombies. John Lodge from the Moody Blues was on there. Who else? Vanilla Fudge. Gosh, who else was on there? I'm trying to remember everybody that was on there. There were so many people on there. We were a tribute band. There were several tributes, but they had a dining area for the musicians separately, so we could hang out and visit. And so you could talk to some of these guys that I'd seen on like an American Bands, the Box Tops, seen on American Bandstand or Ed Sullivan or, learning their songs when I was growing up. It was really, I really enjoyed that.
I
got treated real well on that too. Yeah.
That was an experience. So what was it like? How long did this last? How long were you on that cruise?
The cruise, we were only on for 4 days. We did 2 1-hour shows in 4 days, and we got paid pretty good money. And we weren't rich, but I was very happy with what I made, And
wow.
Did you get seasick? What's that?
Did you get seasick?
I did not. No, it's such a big ship. I hardly noticed it shifting, But they flew us down. It was an overnight flight, red-eye flight to Miami, and then we caught a plane from there to St. Martin Island, where we stayed for the day and overnight till the cruise ship picked us up. And we didn't even know when we got to St. Martin Island, it was a all-inclusive resort. We didn't know it was all-inclusive. We were, wow, what a nice place, And I had been talking to the keyboard player from the Box Tops on the pickup, the shuttle that picked us up to take us to the hotel, and talking to Mike a little bit and stuff. And we immediately went in and got on the water slides, when we were there. And so we were getting hungry. And I said to Mike, I saw you had a cheeseburger. I said, hey, Mike, how much are the cheeseburgers? And he said, this is all inclusive. Everything's free. And so we went over and got cheeseburgers, had lunch. We had steak for dinner and creme brulee, and 200 yards of white private sandy beach in the ocean there. And oh boy, it was amazing. It was wonderful.
Wow.
I'd like to do it again.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a fun time. Miss Sherry, I didn't realize that she was getting that big.
It depends. It's we played the Seven Cedars Casino. We sold out the show, so they were very happy about that, and had a great time at the Moonfest Rock Festival in Quilcene. They already said they wanted us back for next year, so we had to cancel the Rock Festival at Sunbank. So we were looking forward to that, but with Malcolm's illness, people listen to Janis Joplin stuff on the radio and they think, oh, I can do that. Like me and Bobby McGee is pretty simple,
I don't know about that.
Piece of My Heart's not all that hard either, but you get into some of her longer songs that have like key changes and tempo changes and time signature changes and stuff, and all these different breaks. And, sometimes some of these drummers that were going to audition call us back up and say, yeah, I don't think I can do this, It's kind of surprising because you don't think it's that hard until you actually try and learn it.
Was that the music that she actually did perform, or is this something that came out after sort of a copycat thing? Or
most of it, it's something she recorded it all. Of course, her biggest hit, Me and Bobby McGee, came out after she died, but it was already recorded and stuff. So it's I like doing that band, and lately I've been playing with a guy named James Howard.
Yes.
And we just won the Washington State Blues Society Blues Challenge.
Yes.
And they're sending us to Memphis in January to compete in the International Challenge. So James is a very talented guitar player, singer, songwriter, and Kevin Cook's on drums. He's a great drummer too. So I've been enjoying playing with those guys too.
Cook. Boy, that name sounds familiar.
He's been around for a while. He's probably played with some of I'll bet you.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever interviewed him, but I've interviewed with so many people in the last 2 years, I'm beginning to forget who they all are.
You've interviewed James, I think, haven't you? Was James on an interview, wasn't he? I think. Yeah.
James was, and I would go out to the Duval jams and with Doug McGrew and Lynn Sorensen, and James play. Yeah, he's such an ace.
Yeah, he is. He writes his own songs, and he's very. His music isn't just standard music either. It's pretty difficult. A lot of it. It's giving me headaches sometimes working on it. Like, what are we doing here? But I'm sticking with it. Yeah. We have some good gigs too. We play some fairs, and things like that, some
Mm,
festivals and things, and we've been enjoying that. That's my favorite thing is I don't want to be in a nightclub anymore at 1 a.m. packing
yeah,
out gear,
yeah.
particularly.
Yeah, I get that. That's
Now,
really
if I'm
hard.
not being nosy, can I ask how old you are or not?
I
Would
just
that be
turned
fair?
80, October 6th.
Well, congratulations. You're still
Thank you.
playing.
Yes.
And I'm 71. If somebody told me when I was 16 in my first gig that you'll be playing rock music when you're 71, I would have said you're out of your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do notice a little age discrimination, but not a lot. I mean,
Yeah, there was a band I was going to play. There was a casino band. They found out my age and they just weren't interested anymore. I could just tell the age thing. And I understand a lot of it is image with some of these places.
yeah,
I mean, you have vibrant people, younger looking energy. I understand that. I wasn't mad about it.
yeah. Well, I think it's a smaller local gig should not be doing that because
Well, yeah, I think so too. It's amazing how old the crowd has gotten though too. I mean,
yes,
some
you
of these
know
people in
that
the crowd. Yeah,
55 plus actually is a huge, huge crowd. They have the
yeah,
money, they have the
yes,
time, and they
yes,
go out and they like older singers because they can identify. And a lot of the
yeah,
music that we play. I play a lot of 80s and 90s rock. I also play some of the older, not rock,
hmm,
country rock,
yeah.
and I play the older tunes too. But mostly, I try to keep it. I I kind of stop at 2010, but I just did a song called "Tornado" by Little Big Town.
Oh yeah, what a
Yeah,
great band they are.
yes,
Man,
they are.
yes.
And so I try to keep it fairly new, but people that are our age and younger, for 55 to endless, they can find the songs, and if it's a song that they can dance to, it doesn't matter where it came from.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
going to dance to it.
What always amazes me when we're playing somewhere and we were playing I can't remember where we were playing. It's been about 2 months ago, and it was an 8-second ride, and all the bands hate this song, and Brown Eyed Girl. It's one of those songs they
Oh,
don't want to play
yes, it's
anymore.
our
But
favorite.
I don't really care because if people dance and like it, I'm fine with it. I
That's
don't really care. But these two girls came up for, do you take a request? I'm looking, these girls are probably barely 21. I'm going, oh God, what are they going to ask me? Something by Beyonce or Taylor Swift or
right.
something? They said,
Yeah.
do you guys know Brown Eyed Girl? I said,
Oh, and
oh
it's
yeah. And they were like, oh great. And they danced out in front of the stage and they sang, they knew all the words. I was shocked. I was like, wow, this song's 50 some years old and they know it. So I think good music just lasts.
that's right. It does. And I don't know if you're good at your craft. And you don't have to be up into the upper casino type big huge performance gigs. Um, if you're good at what you do at the level at the local levels and so forth, I think you can find people who are hire you regardless of your age. And it
Yeah.
all depends upon your fans. It's hard to have a following if you're not playing as much as I was playing before. We played 4 nights a week.
Yeah, you can wear out your welcome some places, if you're there too often. People sometimes tell us that we'll play somewhere and they'll say, we're going to get you back next weekend. Yeah, and let's wait about a couple months, give it a chance to settle in. And, we found that playing those house gigs, I did several of those over the years, where you're just
I've
there
never
for,
done that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And after a while, it's like people are like, okay, we need to find something different to do, and it kind of, if you last a couple of years at a house gig or 3 years, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I don't do those, but
Yeah.
I,
I did
I
when I
don't.
was younger. I liked doing it because I didn't have to move gear.
Yeah, exactly. So, so when we all hit that cliff called COVID, how did that affect what you were doing and what you were playing? What was the impact on that? Was there any? Or
Well, yeah, a lot of clubs were just not having bands anymore, and the only thing that helped me is a lot of these guys don't report what they make. They do under the table kind of things.
ah,
And I report everything I make because I knew one day I'm
me
going to get Social
too.
Security and I want to get the most I can get. So when COVID hit,
Exactly.
I had all my paperwork in order and I couldn't play. So I turned it in and I qualified they turned it down the first time. You have to resubmit. but I was playing one weekend every weekend, or one I do every weekend, probably 125, 150 a weekend, and with 8-second ride.
Right.
I turned that all in. And so I was getting that pay and not working. And then they did that. They gave that extra $600 a week, which I didn't understand where that came from. And they gave me extra $400 a week for a while. And they give you those checks for like $1,800. It's like my bank account was higher than it had been when I was playing. I was like,
Exactly.
where's this money coming from? We bought a used car that was only like a year old, and we bought a really nice mattress, me and my wife, Debbie. And, it's kind of like free money to us, and let's spend it and keep people employed, and keep things moving in the country,
Right.
And we got a new car and we got a mattress, so we were happy.
Well, do you write? Do you do your own songs?
Not really. I've written a couple things, and as I listen back to them, I go, if it's something I think is good, I listen back to them, I go, oh, wait, that reminds me of another song I heard before. And if something's bad, I don't want to play it. So I've kind of given up on that. I just like to play the bass, and do a little singing.
Yeah.
Do what I can. I've had, I've never been famous. I've crossed paths with some famous people. One time, Gene Clark, who's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he was in the Byrds, he wrote the song 8 Miles High and Feel a Whole Lot Better. He came to a music store I was working at, and he picked up a guitar and was playing it. I had my back to him, and I was playing a bass, demoing for a guy, and I know that song. That's a Byrds song. So I started playing the bass, and he started singing. I thought, that guy's a good singer. And so I started singing the harmony part. And I turned around and I said, oh my God, I saw him on Ed Sullivan like 3 or 4 years ago, and he said, hey, I've got a gig tonight. I was just doing it solo. He goes, do you want to come play bass and do some harmony singing, some backup vocal for me? I said, oh yeah, I'd love to do that, and
fun.
And so I got to play with him. And then another time I got, there was a Peaches Records in Tacoma, was a big record store at 56th and Pacific. And they had a album release party for a guitar player named Elvin Bishop. And they hired me to come over and play bass for him for about 4 songs. And I didn't get paid much, but hey, Elvin Bishop's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He was in the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, which was a groundbreaking blues band, one of my favorite bands of all time. I mean, they were one of the first bands to mix like black and white together, people, and doing gigs like that, and breaking the color barrier. And they were groundbreaking. They had, they said white people can't play the blues, but they had 2 white Jewish guys that were incredible players, So it just goes to show you that it doesn't matter your religion, doesn't matter your race. If you feel it, you can do it.
That's
and
right.
I got to play bass with him one time. And then Dave Cruzen, the original drummer from Pearl Jam, who's on the first album that sold like 7 million copies. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too.
Yes.
He was rehearsing in the back of my store in a band before Pearl Jam, and we did 3 or 4 gigs together. He covered on drums for my classic rock band, and so that was kind of fun. And then he said, well, I can't do it in this band. I'm in, it's kind of get some things happening in Seattle. And I thought, oh, okay, great. And then, a year later, his album selling 7 million copies. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize it was that big a band,
Oh, 7 million.
Yeah, I was like, wow. And I wish I saw him once at a Metallica concert. One of the guitar companies we dealt with had gotten me and one of my employees backstage passes for Metallica because we were selling one of their signature model guitars. And I saw Dave briefly then at the Metallica concert, but I haven't seen him since. That's been years. But next time I go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'll have to look for him. I know he's in there.
Yeah. We do have a comment here from a band called Dublin Abbey. And
Okay.
It's Patrick. He said, do you have a favorite model of bass guitar, and who would you consider inspired you most in your early career?
Boy, my favorite model is, can I run over and grab it? It might take 15 seconds or 20 seconds. Hold on, I'll grab it real quick.
Going to get a demonstration, Patrick. Good to see you.
I'll be doing good.
I thought maybe you disappeared there for a while. I haven't seen you. I didn't give him a second here. I'd like to have you guys back too, by the way, Patrick.
Can you see this in there or not? Is it too big?
Okay, Jack, I'm going to disappear for a minute while you're showing that. I'll come back. Okay. I can hear you, but you can't see me.
Okay. This is a Warwick Star bass made in Germany. Boy, it's so precision made. It's just beautiful. Thing sounds great. I don't take it out to play gigs mostly, but because it's like a $3,000 instrument, I'm afraid to damage it.
Jack, can you back it up a little? Because always the guitar is like We can't really see all of it.
How are we doing? Any better? That's that way. I think I need to go, don't I?
Oh, that's beautiful.
That work, yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. It's a beautiful instrument. It is really.
Yeah,
It's really
he said
nice.
he loves the hollow bodies. I do too.
Yeah, very, very thin. Not too heavy. Thing sounds great, but like I said, it's so expensive. I'm afraid to take it to a club, and I usually play like my Fender Mexi bass because it can get banged up, and I'm not too concerned about it.
Yeah.
But you asked about
Yeah.
my bass player, my influences. Boy, it's funny. My influence, the people I love, I don't really play like. I'm kind of a simple player. But, like McCartney and John Entwistle from the Who, Jaco Pastorius, Geddy Lee. James Jamerson from Motown. Boy, those Motown bass lines are just fantastic, I'm more like Duck Dunn that played for Booker T and the MGs, did a lot of sessions. He was a little more simple player, but had a good feel. And I think I'm more like that, I think.
Yeah. We have some more comments. Don Malador, he's no longer in this area. Hi, Donald. He said hello to us here. And an unnamed person, who needs to put their name on here so we know who they are, said, well, howdy, Jack. So I don't know who that is.
There's unnamed?
Unnamed. He didn't put his name on. So if you go, sir, ma'am, if you could put your name on there, we appreciate it.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So where were we? What do you see in your future, Jack? Which direction? If you, at our age, making a 5-year plan is
it's not really. I'm making like a 1-week plan.
1-day plan. I'm just glad I wake up in the morning.
Yeah, I wake up and pat my chin. I'm here. I'm still here.
Exactly.
I can take the dog for a walk today. Here we go.
Yeah.
It's I like what I'm doing now. I mean,
okay, Jeff.
James Howard and with the Janice Lives band, it's kind of cutting into my time with 8 Second Ride. So I think they're probably going to have to find another bass player eventually. I mean, if I'm open, I'll play with them. But my wife and I want to do some more traveling. We were in Monterey a couple weeks ago, and went to the aquarium. What a wonderful aquarium down there! It's just amazing.
Where is that? Where?
Monterey.
Oh,
California.
Yes, California.
Yeah. Driving through Big Sur, and that area just is very peaceful to me. I don't know, when I get out there, I get this peaceful feeling when I'm there. It's just like, feel like I'm calm and my head's clear. I don't know.
I feel that way in San Diego. I love San Diego.
Okay. Yeah.
I like the food.
Yeah. The a lot of seafood in Monterey. I'll tell you that, man. Wow. Yeah.
Now, how far is that away from San Diego?
Oh, you're up the coast up. I bet you it's probably I'm guessing a 7-hour drive, maybe 8-hour drive. If you take Highway 1, it's going to take longer because you can't go as fast. But Highway 1 is the most it's beautiful. It follows the coast there and up on the hills through the cliffs. And there's all these viewpoints to turn out at. We finally gave up after about 10 because this is going to take us all day to do this if we keep turning out every viewpoint,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. So that was the white guy that said, how did Jack was Jeff Wallace.
I know that name. It's really funny because so many people at my store over the years.
Yeah,
I can't remember their name, but when I see them, I'll go,
yeah, exactly.
I sold you that purple Ibanez bass, didn't I? But I don't remember their name.
I get that. And this couple comes in every Sunday night to the gym in Duval, and her name is Cindy, and it was her birthday last night, and I'm calling her Kathy.
Man, I know, it's terrible. My wife and I have this thing where if there's somebody comes up and starts talking to me, and my wife is there, if I don't introduce her to this person in 30 seconds, she's supposed to go, have we met? I don't know if we've met before. I'm Jack's wife, Debbie. And then, I'm so-and-so. And then I go, I thought you guys knew each other. So,
good thinking.
I mean, we've got this whole plan.
Yeah, I need to do that, boy. I'll tell you. I know these people. I know their background. I know they're playing.
Yes.
But when it comes to the name, I'm just like, what happened?
Yeah.
Nothing there.
Well, and I remember who they are. I remember what they do. I don't remember their name though, so I don't introduce. My wife one night she said to me, "Why didn't you introduce me?" I said, "Because I couldn't remember their name and I was embarrassed." So we came up with a plan. Here's how it works,
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. What are
So
you going to
then
do?
the other person made a comment. It was Donald. He used to film Howard Comfort a lot.
Oh yeah, I know who
Yeah,
Howard
you
is.
know Howard. Everybody
Yeah.
knows Howard. Anyway, he said he's in Brunswick, Georgia, deep in the southeast.
Wow.
Yeah, he was here in the Northwest for a long, long time, and then I saw him move, and he still visits me every now and then.
Oh
He'd be happy to know I did go to the Freedom Fest this year. I didn't play.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, then it says I still play that cream color Warmouth. Is that
Warm-up?
boogie body strap
Yeah,
major
yeah.
that I bought
Wow.
from you at Sluggo Music in 1984.
Wow.
That was
Oh,
Chip.
that's great. I'm glad people still remember, It's kind of funny. You think you're fading away and every once in a while you run into somebody in the store. Like Malcolm was drumming for Janice Lives till he got leukemia. He came to my house for the audition and he looked at me and goes, "I bought my first drum set from you. You own Sluggo Music." And I said, yeah, how you doing,
That's got to be fun.
Yeah, it is fun to reminisce with people. And, it's kind of sad because the business has changed so much. It used to be the smaller stores were important. And all these sales reps would call on you, from the different companies. And they liked calling on my store last because the Engine House Tavern was by me, which was one of the first brew pubs in Tacoma. So they'd always make me the last stops. Let's go grab a beer at the Engine House, And I remember several of the reps really liked that place. It was a firehouse, turn-of-the-century firehouse turned into a brew pub.
Where was that at?
It's off of 6th Avenue in Tacoma. It was, I think it was built in like the early 1900s. And they actually have the names of the horses above the stalls. Because you used to have horse-drawn fire engines out of there.
Oh my God.
And the names of the horses above the stalls. Of course, it's open. You can walk through the stalls and out of the bar. But
is
it's
it still there?
Dick and Rowdy and, yeah, it's still there.
Still there.
Yeah.
But it's a group home?
It's what now?
What is it? Is it
It's a brew pub. Beer?
Oh.
Yeah, brew pub.
Oh, brew pub.
Yeah. Yeah, they said some of the reps from California they'd come up, to call on me from G&L Guitars and different amp companies. And hey, you got time to go over to the brew pub over there? I said, oh yeah, I do.
Yeah. I think he's one of the best West Coast that men on bass and as a person. I think he's talking about you. One of the best.
Oh,
well, on the West Coast, the man on bass and as a person. So you're one of the best on the bass and as a person.
Well, I just try and keep it simple and solid on the bass. Those guitar players can go do whatever they want, and they know that there's something down there waiting for them when they come back. When they're done, I'm trying to support them. Yes. I don't, I hate taking bass solos. I'm just not creative enough for that. I just like to keep it simple and work with the drummer.
Right. But you know what? That I've heard over the years, I've had different bass players, and there are people on the bass that are playing lead on the bass.
Yes, there are.
and I like a plain, simple, clear bass player because I really listen for that beat from the drummer and the bass player. I mean, I think that's what makes it, especially dancers. I mean, that's their guide to rhythm and what they're going to do out there.
Yeah, different music's calls for different styles. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think the Who would have been the Who without John Entwistle on the bass, and he was busy as heck, But that guy was amazing, man. But I can't play anything like him.
What was his name?
John Entwistle.
Huh.
Yeah, legendary bass player from the Who. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Who? See, I wasn't really into rock and roll. Yeah. I saw them puking on stage and breaking guitars, and I said, no.
Yeah.
Not that particular band, but back in that day.
Yeah. You get a gimmick going, and it draws a crowd, like Jimi Hendrix setting guitars on fire, and things like that. Like, no, don't burn that guitar.
Yeah, at the time, I couldn't even afford a guitar. So when watching that, I thought, oh my gosh. But I kind of moved to folk, and then from folk to Americana, and then from Americana into country.
Now, you knew about Alice Stewart passing, didn't you?
Who?
Did you know Alice Stewart at all? Alice Stewart.
Mm-mm.
Oh, she's a female guitarist. She's been around for a long time. She's part of the San Francisco scene back in the day,
Yeah.
the psychedelic, and she wound up living up here. Well, she played around forever, and she just passed away here recently, and that's sad to
Yeah.
see some of these people going.
Yeah. I think that's just, part of the game, but you're losing like a whole encyclopedia of music when musicians go play in the big band in the sky. And it's, all that information, all that experience is gone.
Yeah.
And people still remember mostly the stars for long periods of time. But yeah, it's kind of sad to watch this happening, but that's the cycle of life, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be nice to store that knowledge somewhere, so that
Yeah.
you could access it,
Yeah. So computers can't take it. AI.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll figure out how to do it eventually,
Yeah. So we were talking about a 5-year plan. What do you see? So we'll talk a little closer to home. What do you see yourself in the next 1 to 2 years, Jack? What are you going to do different, or where do you want to be, or are you happy right where you're at?
I'm really happy where I'm at. If I can continue to be healthy enough to do this and still get around and enjoy it, I will be thrilled. I try and take care of myself. I get my walks in and lift a few weights, and watch what I eat. After COVID, I had to go on a big diet because I subscribed to all these different streaming services because there was nothing to do, and get my box of Cheez-Its and sit there and munch while I'm watching the show. And next thing you know, a year and a half later from COVID, I gained 18 pounds. So,
No.
And I needed to lose 10 or 15 before that already anyway. So I've lost 20. I've still got another 10 or 15 to go. I've been working on it, though.
Is your workout buddy with you?
Yeah.
Can you show us your workout buddy?
Oh, Diego, you want to come here?
I love this guy.
Nah, he's over there. I think he's kind of taking a nap over there.
What kind of breed is he?
He is he's a mix between pit bull and Labrador.
Wow.
Now he looks like a pit bull, and he got that big bark like a pit bull, but he's gentle and loving like a Labrador. He scares people when they see him, and he barks at them, but then all of a sudden once they smell their hand, and all of a sudden you see their buddies rubbing it. How you doing?
Yeah. He said he was moping. His dog was moping around the house because it was too wet out there.
Yeah, he couldn't get it. He loves it. If I get up in the morning, I look at him and go, "You ready for a walk?" And he goes, "Oh!" He just starts jumping all around and running in circles, and he runs over to where his leash is, and stands there waiting for me to put it on him. And we jump in the car and drive to this park we like to walk at.
Are you in your music room right now? I see a lot of pictures.
It's kind of my it's my man cave, or whatever you want to call it, rec room. I got a big screen TV over there and a surround system, and I got a lot of my basses, and I got to sell some of my basses and amps. I got too much stuff.
Can we see them, or is that?
Let's see. Well, most of them are in cases, but I'll see if we can see something. That's just can you see that or not? I can't tell. That's kind of let's see. Cheaper acoustic guitar I have there. I got to get further back. That's a Tajima guitar. I don't play much guitar, like I said. See can we see this or not? It's not showing up. That's a PV Cirrus bass I have right there. See an amp setup here. I don't think I can get these in there far enough for you to see them as a problem. Yeah, it's not coming in very well. Over there, I've got a Ibanez Doug Wimbish signature bass. I've got more basses in the cases. I've got more amps stacked up over here. I don't know if you can see all those over there. I got a bunch of things there and a bunch of things over here. I don't know if those are showing up or not. I can't tell. But like I said, I've got too much stuff. I don't know. I just keep accumulating things. Then one day I look at it and go, I've got to get rid of some of this stuff.
I got a small room, so I can't put much in here. And I'm at my peak. I've got 8 or 9 guitars now, and I couldn't put another one in here if I tried.
I know. And the thing is, a lot of this stuff is really good stuff, and it's real usable, and it's just sitting here doing nothing. I'm thinking
Yeah.
there's got to be somebody out there that should be using this and not just sitting here
Yes.
in my room.
Right.
Also, I don't know if I can do a plug here. I work one day a week at Canyon Guitars out in Lakewood.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Where is that, Lakewood?
it's out in Lakewood. Yeah, I get to go out there and tune guitars and plug people in, let them try things out, and work for Dan Adams out there, giving him his day off once a week.
If you weren't so far away, I'd bring my guitars to you. I cannot figure out. I mean, this is terrible to admit, but I'm still having trouble stringing new strings on my guitar. And
Oh,
then,
really?
yeah,
And where do you live?
I live in Redmond.
Oh, is there a store there anywhere or not?
Yeah, there's
Guitar
Guitar
Store.
Center, and I don't know if you ever heard of Michael Lull.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does some of any kind of work that I have that requires a lot of ability. I take it there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Those guys, I think Michael passed away, didn't he? I
yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Yeah. Did
And
his son
his
take
son's
over? I'm trying to remember now.
what?
I heard his son
Perfect.
runs it now, doesn't he? I
Yes,
think.
both of them.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah. So I'm sure it's in good hands.
well, the guy that repairs the guitars, I had one that came damaged, and the
Mm.
company wouldn't honor it.
Oh, wow.
So it had a big hole in it, about the size of the tip of my thumb,
Yeah.
and right down to the wood. And they repaired it, and you cannot see anything. It is like brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
All right. Well, they did good work then.
yes,
That's important. Sometimes, some of the guys that do good work cost a little bit more money, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
You get some guy that does something out of his basement, you get it back, and you go, "Oh, what is this?"
yeah. That's the guitar in the back. I don't know if you can see it here.
Yeah, I see
Yeah,
right over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind is that?
That's an Oscar Schmidt.
Okay, yeah. They were part of Washburn.
Washburn. What is
Washburn Guitars. Do you know
No.
them at all?
that?
Yeah,
No.
Oscar Schmidt was part of Washburn Guitars. Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Oh, I used to sell Oscar Schmidt and Washburn both. So, I mean, my store's been closed for 11 years. I don't know much what's happened since with them, but
Yeah, they wouldn't honor this, and it was destroyed by FedEx, and I'd gone to Amazon to get it, and nobody would honor it. So I said, "Well, the heck with it." It was not
so who
that,
delivered it?
huh?
Who delivered it to you? Was it
I think it was either FedEx or what's the other one? UPS.
UPS?
I don't think it was UPS. I think it was FedEx because they're the problem with anything we get that's broken. Yeah, and they hit it. They might. I don't know. They might have boxed it up that way and thought that they could pass it along. I don't know. But they repaired it, and like I said, it wasn't all that expensive. It was, I think, like $125 to do that actual work.
Yeah.
It looks brand new. You cannot see it.
Okay.
No matter. Yeah, that's how good they are.
Yeah. And what'll happen is sometimes the company will say it went in the box and it was fine. And then the delivery company will say it wasn't packed properly. It had to have more packing around it or more cushioning, and it didn't have enough cushioning. So it's the company's fault. And they try and pass the buck back and forth,
Right. Well, we think it was already done. It had already happened because there was nothing in the box to show that had been hit by a forklift or anything. So, I mean, to get a puncture like that, it had to be in the packing of itself,
Yeah.
But anyway, I will never buy from them again. And they've got a kind of a bad name out there for doing that. And so things may be going downhill for them. But
yeah.
I love
always leave a review. Leave a review so other people know what happened,
I did.
Good idea.
And it's a great guitar. I do like it. It's not, it's not the Epiphones or the Fenders or anything like that, or Takaminis or any really good guitar, but it has its own sound. It's a concert version, and it has its own sound, and I like it. So there you go. I practice with a lot.
Sometimes it's like I said, I got that Fender Mexican jazz bass, and I got it from a guy for a couple $100, and a friend of mine worked for DiMarzio and got me a deal on some pickups. I probably got $250 in that bass, and it sounds great. It plays well. It sounds great. I'm like, man, I can't believe it for $250. I never thought I'd be playing a $250 bass on stage. I was surprised, but it sounds good.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Somebody else was on here and said that very thing. And so it's just so odd, but it's not the money. And it's really, not the make, it's the
Mhm.
guitar.
Yeah. Well, a lot of guitars, especially overseas guitars, are all a lot of them are made in the same factory anyway. You know,
Yeah,
you see
yeah,
one assembly line has this name on it, and the same assembly line going the other way has a different name on it. They're coming out of the same machine. You know, it's kind of funny.
exactly. So before we leave, and it's almost that time, it is now 1 o'clock, and I'm going to have to keep it just a few minutes over if you don't mind.
Oh no.
Okay, I wanted to ask you two things, two questions about two bands. What is it like playing country with a second ride or variety? I mean,
Mhm.
it's just not all country. And what is it like playing with Sherry Vox? What is the atmosphere when you guys are in a casino with Sherry, and what is it like playing a gig with a drummer like? I think I'm a fan of Kim's drumming.
You know, it's a second ride. I really like the band. It's more low key. You know, we're playing. I think they play a lot of like Eagles and Elks clubs and things
Yeah,
like that. You know, and they have a lot of regular dancers that come out and they have their favorite dances. They'll come up and request a song, so, you know, they can dance a certain way to it. You
like
know,
Brown
and
Eyed Girl.
yeah. Well, a lot of the country steps, though, you know, whatever those dances are, the tush push and the
Yeah,
10 step or whatever you do. You know, I don't know how to do those,
slide.
but they'll come up and want to waltz, you know, and they know all those dances, and it's kind of calm. It's not real exciting, and that's not. I'm not saying that in a bad way either. You know, I'm
No,
not saying, but with Sherry doing the Janice stuff, it's always really high energy. You know, and it's mostly her out front being high energy. I just got to play the bass, which is good because
yeah.
I'm not a high end. I'm not going to be jumping around the stage, you know, doing cartwheels or anything. That's for sure. And I just try and play the bass, and she's very visual, and she's a real good talker, you know, with the audience and stuff like that, you know, and we know each other long enough to joke around, you know, on stage and stuff like that. Sometimes she'll be talking, I'll look at her, I'll point at my wrist, go, "We got to start playing. It's time." You know, so we know each other well enough, you know, we don't get mad at each other for something like that. We start laughing, and you know, it's
Okay, well, I'm going to have her on again. I've asked Kim, but she hasn't yet. So
Kim hasn't said yes, huh?
no, she hasn't. Maybe you can figure this out
Well,
now.
I'll have to harass her and get her to do that. I don't know if you know
She's
this about
on.
Kim. Kim is stone deaf in one ear,
Oh, you're
totally
kidding.
deaf. You can talk to her and she doesn't hear it. And it's her. Let's see. So we set up. Yeah, she sets up. She sets up on the left side of the stage, and the PA. So the right side, the PA is next to her, so she can hear everything in her right ear. But the guitar player joined one time and said, "Why aren't you in the middle of the stage?" She said, "Because I can't hear anything out of my left
Yeah.
ear." You know, so she has compensated for that by moving the position of the drums on the stage and does a great job.
Yeah. Well, she played out at Stockton's
Oh
at
yeah,
the Jam there with Billy Shue, and oh my
yeah.
God,
Billy Shue's a good
high
player
energy.
too. Yeah,
It,
he was an 8 second ride for a while.
yeah, she's. I had this roar coming behind me, and I was so ready for it. It was like, whoa.
The first time I played with her, I was filling in, and I said to her after the first set, I said, and I don't. This is going to sound like I'm criticizing women, and I'm not. But I played with a few female drummers, and they're just lighter hitters, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
not the ones I know.
more finesse. Well, Kim, she was playing the drums. I looked back there and said, "Is that a woman back there?" She's not very big, you know. She's not very big. I'm like, "Damn,
I
what are you?
know.
Wow, you know." But I play with some female drummers, and they're good, but they're a little lighter hitters, you know. And sometimes you're going, "This is a rock song. You got to hit that thing a little harder," you know. And
Exactly.
you know, but sometimes they're better with their finesse though,
Mhm.
and things like that. With like a ballad, they're better
Right.
because they have the finesse for that. You know, a regular rock drummer is just hitting it anyway, you know. And they're a little better at things like that. So everyone has strengths and weaknesses.
Absolutely. So with that, I guess we're gonna leave you. I was enjoying
Okay.
this.
Well, thanks for having me on. I
You're
appreciate
very
it.
welcome. And last comment was from Patrick of Dublin Abbey Band, and he wants to thank us both for the fun interview.
Well,
So,
Patrick, thank you very much. You know, I've heard a little bit of Dublin Abbey. I'm taking more time to listen to them. I see them on the internet, you know, stuff like that. And are they from
yeah,
around here?
yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay,
Yep,
okay. With a
yep.
name like
They're
Dublin
local.
Abbey, I was thinking they're not from
Well,
Ireland, are they?
it's the kind of music that they play.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very original and
yeah.
very unique. You have to hear it and
I'll
then
have to.
Patrick sends out these poems on on like over Facebook, and
Hmm.
read all his poems. They're really really good, and the music they put out there is so fun and informative. It's a good band.
I'll have to make a
Got
point of listening to
very
them more.
different,
Yeah.
not like any that you and I are
Yeah.
used to.
Yeah.
Well, that ends it. Thanks again, Jack. I hope to see you in the future. I want to catch Sherry, and I'm going to try to get her to come back and interview with us.
Yeah.
Probably.
And I'll harass Kim too and see if she can make it on.
All right.
All right.
Perfect. All
Thanks,
right,
Joanne. I
Jack.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. So with that, that's the end of the show. I mean, the broadcast, some podcast. Um, I do have other guests coming. It won't be long before I'm going to have a Chad Christ on the 4th of December. He's going to join us. He is the lead player for the tribute band called Heart by Heart, with 2 original members in that band. And he is also my sponsor. So stay safe until we see you down the road. Thanks, guys. Bye. Be safe.